Hello everyone. October is a very busy month because a lot of things are happening. First of all, on the 2nd, Mercury turned direct, and on the 8th, Pluto is turning direct as well. And then on the 9th, we are going to have a full moon, which, because it is an Aries Libra dichotomy, it is one of the sharpest of the full moons. Libra is always a diplomat. Its main function is to keep a balance, to keep harmony, whereas Aries is the energy of war and of strife and of the will. And in this case, it is the moon which is in Aries. So it is so our spiritual essence, our soul has the fighting spirit, and it's the sun which is in Libra. So the ego development is filled with some sort of diplomacy and some sort of will to create balance and harmony, and it is not always easy. So let's take a look at the space-time moment. As you can see in this astrology program that I'm using, we don't really have retrograde glyphs next to the planets. It's a very minimalist program, and that's why I like it, because it gives you a very clear picture. And you can still see that Pluto is already direct because it's black. All the rest of the planets that are in magenta are the ones that are still retrograde. So that's the space-time moment. And in London, which is at 21:55, that is how the energy pattern looks like. We have a Cancer rising, and there's a T-square, a very sharp T-square involving double energies, because there is the Sun-Moon opposition. Of course, it's a full moon. There's also a Chiron-Venus opposition very close to it. Actually, the Sun and the Moon are highlighting and illuminating the Chiron-Venus opposition. And the Pallas Athena Black Moon Lilith is at the apex of this cardinal T-square, double cardinal T-square, actually. So you have a Chiron Venus Pallas Athena T-square, and you also have a Sun Moon Black Moon T-square, and they are intertwined in a way. The Black Moon is a little bit out of all, but Pallas Athena is sucking it in, so it's there. Now, what is the Chiron Venus opposition? First of all, Judy Hall worked a lot with Chiron, and according to her, she always said that Chiron Venus denotes the feeling that love hurts. And she kept saying this many, many times. And I remember one day in Glastonbury when she was talking about all sorts of Chiron aspects to other planets. And since I am also in this bracket, because I do have a Chiron Venus square, and I always felt like, like, okay, fine, love hurts. Yes, I know, tell me about it. But is there some sort of bright future picture we can paint for those who have Chiron Venus aspects? So I said to her, is there any hope? Can we turn this around and see how the Chiron Venus aspect can be healing? Because Chiron is not just our karmic wounds, but it's also about healing, how to heal them. And then she looked at me and she said, you know what, you're right. Love hurts, but love needs to be needs to have healing properties. So that it's not just love hurts, but also love heals. So and in this point in time, this space-time moment at the full moon, this is exactly what we might experience. It's the moon Chiron, of course, is always about karmic wounds around family and cardinal emotions and your own soul. And then Venus Sun is about how to create resources, how to create harmony and stability. So that's what we can utilize here. What else is in this picture? Of course, we have the Uranus-Saturn square, which is still tight, which is this couple of weeks main astrological feature. And there's also the Juno-Australia conjunction. At the moment, both are retrograding, so they will be tight for quite a while. And there's also on the IC of the London chart, you have Spot on the IC, you have Lilith, the Esther Lilith, revolt against injustice. Look what's happening in London and everywhere in England. People are up in arms and people are really trying to fight the idiotic, all kinds of idiotic rules and regulations that are again imposed on people. And you also have a Ceres trans-Pluto conjunction, which denotes the joining of the nurturing principle with the dimension jump. So that's also very close to the IC. So it's an interesting space-time moment. Now let's see what we have here. I already told you that the main feature is this cardinal, double cardinal T-square, of course. So you have the Pallas Athena, Black Moon, and Sun, Venus, and Moon Chiron. So if you take a look at it, it's there. And there's also a fixed air engine involving the Saturn Uranus square. This is the fixed square with the Sun, which is making a trine to Saturn and also a quincunx to Uranus. That's the engine. And engines are very nice energy patterns because they combine the daily efforts of the square with the karmic duties of the quincunx and the blessings of a trine. So you have there all three joined in a form that is really very effective. There's also a cardinal air engine involving, of course, again, the Sun, the Black Moon Lilith, and then Saturn, so right here. That's it. It's since the square is cardinal, this one is more effective than the fixed square. There are also little engines. Little engines are different from the main engine configuration by the fact that they don't have a trine, they only have a sextile. So there is Saturn, Uranus, and Black Moon. This is one, okay? And then there is the Venus, Pallas Athena North Node. Here is the other one. And you also have a bow tie. A bow tie is very similar to a mystic rectangle, except that so you have two oppositions, but the outer aspects are not trines and sextiles, but quincunxes and semisextiles. So you only have karmic aspects that are around the two oppositions. Here, the nodal opposition, I didn't put it in, but obviously this is where the other opposition is. And the semisextiles are really turning the whole thing around and giving it potentials, because semisextiles are because they link two signs that are next to each other. So they have this ability to grow further, to give something perspective. Okay, let's take a look at the transcendental celestial objects. We have quite a few. Let's go around and take a look. On Pallas Athena, you have two very bright stars, Sirius and Canopus. Both are southern constellations. Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky. It conveys some sort of sacred energy, and Canopus you won't be able to see only from the southern regions. It's Alpha Carina. On the Black Moon, you have Hiroshima, complete annihilation, and Eclus and Castor. Eclus is a centaur that denotes the dilemmas about truth and reality. And we really are in a post-truth era where truth is no longer important, because the media is simply painting a picture for us, and we need to understand and we need to accept it at face value, which is stupid, because it's not what's happening. And it's very, very hard to try to find the truth, because mainstream media or legacy media is really not interested in the truth. It's interested in painting a picture for us and allowing us to live in this metaverse or meta reality. So it's no longer the truth. And unless you go out and what they're trying to achieve is some sort of world communism. They are really trying to take away all your assets, all your belongings, because if you have nothing no, you won't be happy, but they will be able to do whatever they want to with you if you don't own anything. And the problem is that in Western countries, you really don't own anything because, for instance, here in Central Europe, we own our own houses, we own our own flats. And this gives us some sort of power. And in Western countries, you rent your place, you don't buy. And I understand that the very young people really don't have any chance to even go close to owning something. So of course, I understand their anger or their futile feelings, but just by taking away from someone who has something won't make you rich. And that's the problem. That's the problem. We here in Central Europe lived through 35 to 45 years of communism. In Russia, it was 70 years. So we know what it is. And the problem is, even if it sounds good, it's not good. Believe me, it's not good. So let's hope it's not going to happen, and the World Economic Forum won't have their say in the matter. But I'm unfortunately I don't really trust the powers that be, to say the least. Anyhow, the sun has Amor, Psyche, and Eurydice. And it's quite interesting because it's the wife archetype and then the lovers. So this space-time moment is filled with the questions of love and what to do about love, and if love hurts, how to rectify it and how to turn it into healing powers. On Venus, you have Algorand, which is Alpha, the crow, okay, the alpha star of the crow, or the celestial crow, and it is linked to black magic and the properties of magic. On the sun, okay, I already told the sun. Okay, on the south node, you have Hidalgo, who was a war hero in the Spanish War, and Alphaca, which is the Alpha Corona Borealis, and it is linked to feminine happiness and feminine creativity and fertility. And what else do we have here? On Chiron. On Chiron, you have Gaia, Mother Nature, of course, the Earth, Mother Earth, and two fixed stars, Alderamin and Alpheratz. Alderamin is Alpha Cephus. It is one of the stars of the Cephus, Cassiopeia, Andromeda, Perseus myths, and it denotes the ruler. And Alpheratz is one of the healing stars of suicide victims. The main healing star for that is Sheat, Alpha Pegasus, Beta Pegasus, because markup is Alpha. Sorry, Beta Pegasus. That is the fresh suicide victims are taken to that particular place, and then the next stage is Alpheratz, where you learn again to move around, to have some sort of freedom, to understand, to overcome your shame and remorse, and that is what helps us to overcome the suicide energies. There's also a complex planetary picture around 23 to 26 degrees, involving a lot of planets and a lot of things. You don't really have too many configurations in here. What is there is the harmony triangle involving Mars, Vesta, and at the apex is Aries, drastically altered outward circumstances. So you can focus on fighting and the war in these drastically altered outward circumstances. And you can notice that Mars in Gemini is at a very important point. This is studied with fixed stars. This 22, 23 degrees of Gemini is really one of the most prominent degree in the night sky, where you have at least 6 very prominent and bright fixed stars. And there's also a tiny angel wing right here, involving the Vesta Aries sextile, focusing on destruction. But Neptune is at the apex, and Neptune is very strong in its moon sign. But of course, at the moment it's retrograde, so it's working inward. But also it gives us insight and transcendence in this space-time moment. And the transcendental objects linked to these positions, as I said, Mars has at the moment 4 fixed stars within 1 degree. Mintaka, which is on the celestial equator, it's one of the belt stars of Orion, and it denotes celestial balance, and it's one of the it's really a beautiful star. Elnat, which is the beta star of Taurus, and you may remember that beta stars provide some sort of shadow energy of the main configuration. The alpha star is always the main functioning energy, and in this case the alpha star of Taurus is Aldebaran, which is one of the fixed stars of Persia, the royal stars of Persia, and it denotes success and luck if you can avoid their nemesis. And in the case of Aldebaran, it is integrity. You need to keep your integrity. And Elnat, which is the point of the horn of the celestial bull, denotes this notion taken further to its maximum. So it means that yes, you are trying to be keep your integrity, but you may take it a little bit too far, and you may utilize this energy to its maximum, and by that you may cause suffering to yourself and others, and this is the healing word for it. Also Vacht, which is a southern constellation, the dove, and it denotes happiness and peace. And Capella, which is the alpha star of so it's the alpha star of how do you call it? The sorry. I understand. I mean, it comes in Hungarian to me, but anyhow, so it's creating movement and freedom, and it's how you can achieve free moving energy around you. That's Capella. And then on Neptune, you have Philosophia, Okiro, and Marka. Marka is the alpha star of Pegasus, and it denotes the great ideas that are coming out of your mind. Philosophy, of course, is philosophy, and Okiro is one of the centaurs. She in Greek myths, she was Chiron and Chariklo's daughter, and she inherited certain traits from her parents, but at the same time, so she was a seer and oracle, but she blurted out things that she wasn't supposed to, and the fates constantly punished her, which she couldn't bear, and after a while she turned herself into a horse and forgot to speak. And Okiro is linked to karmic wounds, where you have certain traits and abilities and ingeniousness, but you are unable to show it to the world because you will be punished. So it's a deliberate manifestation of dumbing down your own abilities. So it's not an easy centaur. And of course, Pluto is still on Amicus, the centaur that doesn't care for sacred objects. He grabs a candelabra and starts fighting with it. So it's the sacred and the profane intermingled. I don't care if it's sacred. I want to win, and I want to be the victor here, and this is what I'm going to use. So that's this sort of what you see in politics at the moment, that things are not what they are, and people want to win at all costs, and they are threatening with nuclear bombs and all kinds of other stuff, and they just don't want to talk. I mean, it's ridiculous, really, and it's against us human people. I mean, everyday people, because we don't know what to do. So this Aries full moon is not an easy full moon. It is linked with interesting potentials, but at the same time, an Aries moon is always about self-assertion and about fighting. The fighting spirit is there, and Libra sun is trying to do all kinds of diplomacy tricks, but how effective it's going to be, I don't know, we will see. October is still a very important month because we will have a lot of changes, and the next new moon, of course, will be not just a new moon, but also a solar eclipse. So we will look at it in detail soon, 2 weeks from now, for sure. A happy new moon, and try to use the energy pattern wisely. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.